What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Filip Latocha, and I think I'm about to sneeze. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Filip Latocha. Today we are going to be discussing the Nike ZoomX Vaporfly Next Percent 2 after 100 plus miles. What it looks like, how it's comparing to the Vaporfly Next Percent 1, whether I like it better or not, we'll just kind of get into those things. So before we get into it, though, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. You know how the rest of this goes. Thank you so much for continuing to support this channel. Love you guys a lot. Let's get into it. Specs, wherever they fit, I'm just going to put them on the side here. Again, not too different from the Vaporfly Next Percent 1 as we've discussed multiple times in previous videos. The stack height is of course still 8 millimeters in terms of the offset, 40 millimeter heel, and then 32 millimeter forefoot. Still a really great ride, really great build. I would say that part is definitely perfected when it comes down to it for racing, in my opinion, and also some everyday speed workouts in that sense. I'm also going to post my Strava here or wherever it fits just to kind of give you basically an idea of what kind of workout I had today. It was basically some tempo interval workout where it's like 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off. Really good pace overall in this shoe. Kind of enjoyed it for that particular workout. So in terms of the tempo threshold test, thumbs up for me. It's a good shoe. So, okay. This is where the stuff is where I left off from the last time I made a video on the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. And the big question, of course, was about this upper, which is kind of like an Atom Knit, Fly Knit variant, or kind of a fusion in that sense. And one of my big concerns was because of like how loose the upper is, the shoe has a lot of like lateral motion, in my opinion. And I was kind of afraid that this lockdown in the long run was not going to be good. And now, of course, you would think, of course, it's Nike. Like they're building they're basically building the successor to one of their most profound racing shoes on the market. Hopefully this upper would be good. So I had confidence that over time this could be the case. So at this point in time, it's definitely a good thing that the serrated shoelaces are part of this shoe, because it is one of the key features of the shoe that's getting this shoelace area locked down in a really good spot. So of course it's still kind of weird in some places. As you can see, it's like really tight at the very tip of the shoelace area, but then it's really open here in the the ankle area for my foot to get in, of course. And the same is also done in the Vaporfly Next Percent 1. It's also very tight in this vapor weave area, as you can see. But overall, I think the fit is now starting to work, and it's starting to definitely mesh better together. Again, the lateral movement that I was fearing originally is now subsided overall, and I think as long as I get this particular area locked in pretty well, I think I'll be okay. Now, here's the caveat. I don't do a whole lot of runner's knots when I tie my shoes, which is probably going to be something I should probably practice more for, considering that the shoe does have, in fact, an extra lace to basically get that down. My only concern is, like, will the runner's knot fix this second issue, which I'm seeing, which is basically in the shoe collar itself, is that the shoe spreads wide in this direction when you're running. And like, I think that's what the runner's knot is for, is to eventually clamp that down. So it's not nearly as wide, so when you're running, you don't have any sort of pronation or supination depending on how you strike or how your stride is basically going. So that's just going to be something I will be practicing as well, because a runner's knot at this point should be a standard and not a suggestion for me. So that's kind of the good stuff right now. Overall, I think as a successor, it's doing really well in terms of having this lock pretty figured out. But again, my hypothesis was that you're gonna have to run into the shoe a couple of times before you eventually figure it out. And I think it's a lot better than when I had it since day 1, day 2, etc., etc. Let's talk about basically what the shoes look like on the bottoms. Here we go. This is 100 plus miles in the Vaporfly Next Percent 2s. As you can see, the wear and tear is still very similar in both shoes at 100 plus miles when we're discussing both Vaporflies. So you can check this out. Overall, they're very similar, as you can see. Both of these are my right foot. And I don't know, it's just probably the way I'm striking the ground. In this case, I think the Mango Vaporfly Next Percent 1s, the only reason they're experiencing more damage is I might have just struck in more gravel perhaps, but that's not really a big deal, I would say. In this particular case, I think I've been more road conscious when running with the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, also on a very different side of the lakefront path in Chicago, just to more or less minimize that sort of gravel dirt kind of running. But yeah, 100 plus miles in, this shoe is now, in my opinion, primed for racing. And if there is a race coming up and the Alphafly is not available to me, the Vaporfly Next% 2 is definitely on my list of shoes to definitely take for a spin. So I think I'm going to leave the video here. I want to keep it short and sweet because there isn't a whole lot of other updates I have with the shoe other than the fact that this upper I was very skeptical about. And now that I've got the lock figured out with the addition of the shoelaces and having this shoelace area kind of mesh itself and mold itself to my foot a lot better, everything is starting to work out a lot better for basically my tempo, my threshold, my everyday race style runs in this particular shoe. So I'm not really concerned about anything much else with it. I think it's just going to be a good time overall for now. It's just going to be a case of now watching what the lifespan of the shoe is going to be like, and hopefully it's a good one. So I'm going to leave the video here. Like and comment, of course, as I said before. The thing to comment here in the video is if you're having a similar experience with the shoe, if the original lockdown was kind of weird, and if the lockdown has figured itself now, basically with how the upper is running, like did your foot eventually kind of get this figured out? If you are using a runner's knot, is it fixing this open, like sideways lateral motion on, like this lateral openness, I'm going to say, in the shoe collar? If you like it, if you hate it, of course, just kind of work from there. So I will leave the video there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys real soon.